Hello CIVO Cloud users. In today's video, I'd like to continue where we left off yesterday. So just as a recap, yesterday we created a new environment, a new Gitops environment called production, which was backed by two Gitops repositories. And we also installed Prometheus on the cluster, and basically we watched how Flux synchronized all this to the cluster. If you noticed yesterday that there was this warning in my production environment and also this red plug sign, it means that Gimlet needs an agent running in your cluster in order to provide real-time Kubernetes information. Now, what kind of information is this? If you are going to deploy repositories later on, you can see that inside the repositories view, you have a real-time view on what deployments, what pods do you have running in your cluster, and ingresses and all those resources. So for this information to reach Gimlet's dashboard, we need an agent. There is a good overview on this on the Gimlet.io documentation. Under components, you can see this little summary of components and how they interact. And basically, this is the dashboard right here. This is the Kubernetes cluster, and as you can see, the Gimlet agent runs inside the cluster. It gathers all the information and pushes up in like a streaming fashion up to the dashboard, so the dashboard can display it for you. And this functionality right now in our production environment is not created yet. Now, Gimlet suggests how to resolve this. Basically, it tells me that go to under infrastructure components, find the Gimlet section down below, and configure the agent. I'm going to enable the agent, and I'm going to provide the logical name of this environment. Now, we know that this is production. We also need the URL for the dashboard, and actually, I can borrow this just from the address bar. So the agent will use the same address to stream the Kubernetes data. And we also need a key to authenticate and just to authorize itself. And now, obtaining this key requires some kubectl commands. Maybe at a later point it will be visible in the Gimlet dashboard too. But let's just obtain it from the command line. I have two clusters in my terminals. The one below, it's where my dashboard is running. And the dashboard pod prints out the agent key at startup. Now my dashboard was started 86 minutes ago, so most likely the logs have been rotated, so it's not easy to obtain the first lines. So how about I delete the pod and see it restart. And once it is up, it was quite fast to restart because it's written in Go, so it's very lightweight. So once it restarted, I just look at the logs, and as you can see, the agent JWT token is this one. So let me borrow it. I pasted it here, and when I will press the Save Components button, what you will expect is going to happen is that Gimlet makes a commit into the infrastructure Gitops repository, and Flux will synchronize it down to the cluster. So if I quickly do this, my components are saved, and we could just stick to this picture, to this screen, and wait until this plug is going to turn green. But I'm also interested at looking at resources because it also spreads some awareness that this is not magic, it's just regular pods and containers running in your cluster. Now in my top terminal, I can get the pods from the infrastructure namespace, and I'm just going to watch it, watch what happens. And sooner or later, this agent is going to pop up and connect to the dashboard. So let's wait for it. Here we go, it already in running state. So if I hop over to the dashboard, as you can see, this plug turned green, and it says that my agent is connected to the dashboard. So this is pretty cool. Now I will have real-time Kubernetes data.